Hello, welcome to the Morning News. Our top story takes us to the U.S. today. People in Havana and Washington celebrated the resumption of diplomatic relations between the two countries. But as the euphoria of the historic events died down, the major differences that still remain again emerged. Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez said the landmark restoration of U.S.-Cuba relations will only make sense if the United States lifts its arbitrary blockade on the island nations and returns to Cuba the U.S. illegally occupied territory of Guantanamo.
The historic events we are living today will only make sense with the removal of the economic, commercial, and financial blockade, which causes so much deprivation and damage to our people, the return of occupied territory in Guantanamo, and respect for the sovereignty of Cuba.
Many experts and former U.S. diplomatic officials agree that Guantanamo Bay must be vacated by the U.S. and given back to Cuba. They also agree the blockade must be lifted. What's more, they have also admitted Washington adopted a hostile policy toward Cuba that yielded no results. Let's listen to Wayne Smith, a former chief of mission at the U.S. Interest Section in Havana, had to say.
We continued this policy year after year. Embargo, refusal to talk, hostile rhetoric and so forth. What did it gain us? Nothing. Nothing. By 2014, the United States was isolated. We were the only country in the hemisphere that didn't have normal diplomatic and trade relations with Cuba. It was an embarrassment.
We continue with more Latin American news. In Colombia, President Juan Manuel Santos addressed Congress as part of the country's Independence Day celebrations. He took the opportunity to call on his political rivals to put aside their differences and back the ongoing peace talks with the FARC rebels. Colombia is marking the 205th anniversary of its independence. This year, commemorations have focused on a possible deal with the leftist rebels to end the hemisphere's longest-standing civil war. Since its beginning in 1961, over 220,000 people have been killed and millions are victimized.
Let us not be divided by internal quarrels at this unique opportunity for peace. I need all of you. The country needs unity, and we cannot fail.
We continue in Colombia. Our correspondent Natalia Margarita has the story on the beginning of the FARC rebels for the month's unilateral ceasefire. The government has refused to a truce, but is expected to de-escalate its actions against the insurgents.
Right as Colombia is commemorating its Independence Day, a new step towards peace has been taken. The FARC has set in place a unilateral ceasefire, the sixth of its kind since Colombia's peace process started back in 2012. Now the hope is that this can be the last 20th of July amidst an armed conflict that has lasted for more than 5 decades.
Starting from midnight on the 20th of July, the order is given to cease any offensive action against the armed forces of the state, as well as the public and private infrastructure.
The FARC has made it clear it has the legitimate right to defend from any attack against its units. Now social sectors and organizations have called upon the military forces and the government to respond to the unilateral truce by implementing reciprocal de-escalation measures, something that President Santos has already committed to.
We are calling on the government to show a political commitment. Peace requires political willingness. Otherwise, the government is going to end up like a leaf in the wind, driven by the pressure of those powers that continue calling for more war.
In a meeting with the FARC peace delegation in Havana, representatives of Colombia's Broad Front for Peace, the churches and peace constituents, have welcomed the FARC's invitation to verify its ceasefire and reiterated their willingness to contribute on that task.
We consider it very significant, not just in terms of the verification tasks, but also because it is an opportunity to strengthen ties with the sectors of Colombian society that are committed to a real transformation of our country.
The social organizations gathered in Havana have also welcomed the invitation by the FARC to the United Nations and the UNASUR to act as verifiers of the unilateral ceasefire. Also, they have emphasized on the importance of this truce, especially for the rural residents of Colombia's war zones. Natalia Margarita, Telesur, Bogotá.
A world news roundup begins in Spain. Catalans announced that they would declare unilateral independence if the national government doesn't accept their separation.
In Spain, Catalan separatists warned they are ready to declare unilateral independence if Madrid attempted to block a separation process they hope to launch if successful in September's regional elections. Spain's conservative national government fiercely opposes independence for the rich northeastern region of Catalonia, while the Catalan separatists are set on following Scotland's example by voting on its political future.
If on the 27th our proposal obtains a sufficient majority vote, we want the Catalan parliament to solemnly declare the start of the independence process by virtue of the mandate which the Catalonian people gave them.
After months of suspension due to civil unrest and coup attempt, elections polls were open in Burundi. Tensions were high and violence was reported, including the death of 2 persons. Many Burundians are angry over President Pierre Nkurunziza's decision to run for a 3rd term in violation of the constitution. Opposition parties called on a boycott of the elections. Early reports suggest some people have cast their ballots. Many, though, have expressed uncertainty in the country's figure.
There is no security in Burundi. Gunfire rings out through the night. We don't know where the country is headed. We are not sure what's happening here.
The new development bank of the BRICS bloc has been officially opened for the business in Shanghai, China. The BRICS countries include the world's major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The new financial institution was created to finance infrastructure and development projects among BRICS countries, but also be an alternative to financial institutions dominated by the US. They said financing will also be offered to other developing countries.
As a multilateral development bank initiated and established by the emerging markets, the NDB will focus more on the needs of developing countries, respect their national conditions, and better represent developing countries' ideas. This will definitely enrich international development concepts, practice and experience, and improve the efficiency development cooperation.
France hosted an informal conference gathering 40 foreign ministers from around the world to discuss climate change ahead of the COP21 summit in December. France expressed hope that the COP21 summit will be a success, while the meeting will face a tough challenge to agree United Nations deal to slow climate change. About 200 governments are expected to participate in the summit in Paris.
We all want the COP21 to be successful because we are all aware of the crucial importance of obtaining an agreement that is ambitious and at the same time pragmatic, in Paris in December.
Authorities in the U.S. state of Texas released a surveillance video showing the moment Black civil rights activist Sandra Bland was discovered dead in her cell last week. Officials said they are investigating her death as a murder case, but the local officials have said she committed suicide. A Texas district attorney said the case will be investigated as a murder. Bland was taken into custody July 10th after a routine traffic stop. Police said she was argumentative and uncooperative, and also charged her with assault of a public servant.
We go to Romania to take a look at the world's largest sanctuary for brown bears. It is located at the Carpathian Mountains. Bears there can recover from the cruelty they suffered when they were exploited or abused. Most had been kept in small door cages, providing so-called entertainment not just in zoos and circuses, but also restaurants and hotels. Now the ones depressed bears have a hope for a better future.
It's like they're in a creche, where they have the chance to play together, learn from each other, all while being in a protected environment.
More on these on our website, telesurtv.net/English. Thanks for watching and have a good day.